Howdy Internet, I am absolutely not the one who made these two surveys, the TF2 Friendly survey and the Mordhau Bard survey. These surveys were put out, and I'll put the date up on the screen right now. It is made during the Reddit API protests, so the data will have for the TF2 Friendly survey is going to be a little bit skewed in the generic demographic questions, the biological sex, gender identity, ethnicity, and political compass alignment. On top of that, I have gotten most of the data from TF2 Friendly survey from Trans TF2 because that was the next best TF2 subreddit, and the Uncle Dane Discord server. So there's going to be some biases in the data there. For the Mordhau Bard survey, I had gotten the data from the Mordhau Bard Discord and the Mordhau Reddit. So this is a little less biased, but there's still a bit askew. So the data that I have collected for both of these are generic demographic questions, and then at the end of the generic demographic, there's more important questions like, would you consider yourself a friendly or bard? And if you saw a hoovy or bard, what is the most likely thing you would do? And after that, what it would do, depending on how you answered this last one here, it would bring you to the section asking why would you do the thing that you did, and then afterwards it would ask you, would you ever be or have you ever been a friendly or bard? If you say yes, then it brings you on to the gameplay questions. This is where people are trying to find out why exactly are you friendly? What do you enjoy about being friendly? And this is where my real interest lies, because I want to know what about being friendly is enjoyable, because it's like the quote unquote wrong way to play, but it's still fun to do, and there's still a large community of people who are friendly, and so that's the I'm just curious about that. For political compass alignment is a little bit of a weird one, I will admit, but that's because of I was reminded of the Bartle taxonomy of players, where there's 4 different player types depending on how where they are measured based on how they like to interact with players and the environment. And I was just I was remembering political compass alignment first, and then I could tie that into the Bartle taxonomy, and on top of that, I could do a nice little cross section. In terms of interesting things, there are not like there's nothing like crazy as far as like just mind-blowing stuff, things that you hadn't known. I'll put the Microsoft Sheets, not the Microsoft, the Google Sheets links in the description below. But something that did surprise me was that of the people that had a political leaning, that is the vast majority of them are lean libertarian left, Now, if that's because of the Overton window or they just genuinely fall there, um, that's to be seen. But you can see that uh, it's not just the TF2 ones that are uh, libertarian left. It is also the Mordhau uh, um, servers that are also heavy libertarian left, which that raises a few other questions, but at least it's consistent with other internet surveys, like which are other weird internet surveys, like I know JREG did a fetish political compass and a um, mental illness political compass, and there was a heavy libertarian left skew to both of those. So it's nice to see that it seems to be a something that's consistent across the internet. Um, Other than that, I mean, there's a few interesting things like TF2 friendlies would, um, generally speaking, not try to be friendly in other games, whereas Mordhau um, players would would like to be friendly in other games, um, and that's interesting. I don't really know what to make of that. Perhaps it's because of uh, the Mordhau players having um, tools to accomplish their their goals of being friendly in the form of lootbot, where TF2 friendlies don't, and they're faced with the stark reality that um, there's people that just do not want friendlies, that it's difficult to be friendly in most games because there is a lack of something or other, whatever it is that causes friendlies to pop up. On top of that, we have the gameplay questions. What have you found enjoyable about being a friendly? Um, I was personally surprised by this because I really love talking to people using voice commands in both of these games, but that's not the first or even the second, and I believe either of these surveys. Yeah, it's fair. Oh wow, it's really unpopular in Mordhau. Yeah, but uh, the other than playing music for people as bards, the next thing is the comedy, the absurdity of it, the novelty of being a friendly in both of the games is what really drives people to enjoy being a friendly, which implies that friendlies necessarily have to be a minority to in order to like have fun. But I don't know, with this thing, with this question saying would you consider yourself a bard, and the majority saying yes, I don't know, that's up for debate. I'm either going to need a larger sample size or a less biased sample size, because I did go to the Mordhau Bard server, so there's going to be more people that say that they are bards. Um, Sorry, it's really late at night while I'm doing this, or I guess early in the morning, technically. Um, After that, there's the people who would ignore the friendlies are much more likely to have been or consider being a bard, whereas ones that would choose to kill the friendly are much more likely to have never been a bard. Um, I will be using this data in a video essay that I will publish later that is concerning about designing a game specifically for, not specifically for, but in it, how one would design features or methods to encourage friendlies to grow and friendlies to exist in someone's game. Like maybe if you make a Halo 2 copyright safe edition, how would you make friendlies in that game? I will be using this as data, and I will also on that video also make a much longer, more comprehensive version of each of these surveys, which go into more depth for these games specifically, because these surveys were more to find out generally why, because right now I don't know a whole lot about why players would or would not do something. That's why I have as many open-ended questions as I do in this like 8-question survey. Like, I think 4 of them are open-ended or can be open-ended. But you can subscribe if you want to. If you want to go and see that video essay, you can subscribe. And if you have any questions or metrics that you think I should track in the next, the more comprehensive surveys, please comment those. I would love to know. I also want to make a very, very comprehensive survey for both of these games to find out how and why and where and when people are most likely to be friendly, because that's interesting to me. Anyway, bye, I guess.